It's a quiet evening in a small town, and the air feels heavy with an unspoken tension. A man in a sharp suit is pulled over by the police. He's calm, polite, and cooperative, but the officers seem uneasy. They ask him to step out of the car, and soon things escalate. They cuff him, questioning his every move. The man doesn't resist. Instead, he watches with a quiet intensity, as if taking mental notes. But what these officers don't realize is they've just detained someone they'll soon wish they hadn't. This isn't just any man. He's a federal prosecutor, one tasked with investigating corruption within their very department. As the night unfolds, hidden truths bubble to the surface, and the balance of power starts to shift. What happens when those sworn to protect and serve are faced with someone who knows their darkest secrets? Stay tuned to find out. The officers lead the man to their squad car, his calm demeanor unsettling them more than his words ever could. He doesn't argue or protest. Instead, he simply watches, his piercing gaze cutting through the night like a spotlight. The officers exchange uneasy glances, unsure why they can't shake the feeling that something's not right. Inside the station, they run his ID, expecting to find an ordinary citizen. Instead, the screen flashes his title, Assistant U.S. Attorney. One of the officers stares at the monitor, his hands beginning to tremble. This is no random traffic stop. The man they've detained has been quietly building a case, examining excessive force allegations, falsified reports, and whispers of misconduct that have plagued the department for years. But he doesn't say any of this aloud. He lets their own discomfort grow, each second ticking by like thunder in the silence. They're beginning to realize they've made a grave mistake. As the officers step out of the room to confer, their voices are low, but the tension leaks through the walls. They argue about what to do next. One insists they let him go immediately. The other fears what might happen if they admit their mistake. Meanwhile, the prosecutor sits calmly in the interrogation room, his hands resting on the table, eyes scanning every corner. It's as if he's piecing together a puzzle no one else can see. In another part of the station, a rookie officer overhears the commotion. She's been suspicious of her colleagues for months, noticing things that didn't add up, missing evidence, reports that didn't match witness accounts. Her curiosity draws her to the computer screen where the prosecutor's name is still displayed. Something clicks, and she realizes this man might be the key to exposing the truth she's been too afraid to confront. The clock on the wall ticks louder now, every second dragging the officers closer to a reckoning they can't outrun. The air thickens as decisions are made in hushed tones, but the man in the room knows the game has just begun. The rookie officer hesitates, her heart pounding as she decides to confront the prosecutor. She steps into the room, her nervous energy contrasting sharply with his calm demeanor. "Sir," she begins cautiously, "I think I know why you're here." He looks up, his gaze sharp but encouraging, as if inviting her to speak her mind. She takes a deep breath and continues. "There's more going on in this department than people realize. I've seen it." Meanwhile, in the hallway, the senior officers are growing desperate. One suggests fabricating a reason for the arrest, while the other argues they can't risk further mistakes. The tension between them rises, their once united front starting to crumble. Every word they speak seems louder now, the walls echoing their panic. Back in the room, the prosecutor leans forward slightly. "What you've seen matters," he tells the rookie. But the truth needs more than whispers. It needs witnesses willing to stand tall, no matter the cost. His voice carries a weight that roots her to the spot. Before she can respond, the door bursts open. The senior officers step in, masks of authority firmly back in place. The prosecutor doesn't flinch, but his eyes narrow slightly, the air crackling with anticipation. It's clear something big is about to happen. The room falls silent as the senior officers step in, their faces unreadable. One of them places a file on the table in front of the prosecutor. "You've been asking questions about this department," he says, his voice steady but with an edge. "Well, we have questions about you too." The prosecutor raises an eyebrow, his composure unshaken. He opens the file, glancing at its contents. Inside are photos of him outside various locations: the police station, a courthouse, even his home. The realization sets in, they've been watching him too. For a brief moment, the balance of power shifts again, the officers feeling a flicker of control. But that flicker doesn't last. The prosecutor calmly closes the file and looks up, his expression unreadable. "You've been keeping tabs on me." "Interesting." His tone is almost casual, but the tension in the room thickens. "But you missed something." The rookie, still in the corner, stiffens as he reaches into his jacket pocket. He pulls out a small recording device, placing it on the table with deliberate care. "This conversation," he says, his voice low but steady, "has been live streaming to federal investigators since the moment you brought me in." The senior officers freeze, their faces pale. For a moment, the room feels like it's holding its breath. The rookie glances at the prosecutor, realizing she's not just a bystander anymore. She's now part of something much bigger. The room explodes into chaos. One of the senior officers lunges for the recording device, but the prosecutor moves faster, sliding it out of reach. "I wouldn't do that," he warns, his voice calm but steely. "Every move you make now is part of the evidence." The rookie steps forward, her voice trembling but firm. "He's right. This ends here." Her words hang in the air, forcing the officers to confront the truth they've been trying to bury. Panic flashes across their faces, but before anyone can speak, the door swings open again. This time, it's federal agents, their badges gleaming as they step inside. The senior officers stumble backward, their authority stripped away in an instant. The agents take control, placing them in handcuffs. The prosecutor watches silently, his expression unreadable, as the corrupt officers are led out. The rookie looks at him, her eyes wide with a mix of relief and fear. "What happens now?" she asks softly. The prosecutor stands, adjusting his jacket. "The truth comes out," he replies. But as he turns to leave, he pauses, glancing back at her. "And you're braver than you realize." As the agents and the prosecutor leave the station, the rookie stands alone in the room. She looks down at the table, where the confiscated file still sits. Opening it, she finds one last photo, a picture of herself taken outside her apartment. Her breath catches. She wasn't just a bystander. She was a target all along. The rookie sat in silence, the weight of the photo sinking in. She had suspected corruption, but she never imagined she was part of the web. Yet despite the fear creeping into her thoughts, she felt a strange sense of resolve. For the first time, she understood the price of doing what's right, and she was willing to pay it. Days later, news broke about the arrests. The prosecutor's investigation revealed years of cover-ups and abuse, shaking the town to its core. The rookie, now a key witness, found herself in the spotlight. It wasn't easy. Whistleblowing came with risks, but she knew the truth had to be heard. As she walked into the courtroom to testify, she spotted the prosecutor in the back, giving her a small nod. It was a reminder that courage, no matter how small, could create ripples of change. And for her, that was enough.